Hello everybody, welcome to the September 2020 edition of BCA's Tax Gurukul. Tax Gurukul is an initiative of Bombay Chartered Accountants Society to bring to you the latest news, developments, changes, amendments that have happened in the tax world. In this edition of BCA's Tax Gurukul, I, CA Krishna Upadhyaya, practicing Chartered Accountant from Bangalore, I am here to present to you a recent representation that was made by BCAS in association with Karnataka State Chartered Accountants Association and the CA associations and societies of Lucknow, Surat and Ahmedabad. This was made to the Ministry of Finance to provide certain relaxation in the income tax law in the backdrop of COVID-19 outbreak. So this entire representation was made in 4 different parameters. Number 1, easing compliances. Number 2, improving cash flows with business. Number 3, providing relief to taxpayers from unwanted hardships. Lastly, granting some relief on TCS, which has gotten introduced recently under 206C 1H of the Income Tax Act. Firstly, to begin with on easing compliances, the first representation that was made was regarding extending the due date under 139(1) of the Income Tax Act for filing income tax return for assessment year 2021. As you are aware, there was a notification that was brought out in June 2020. Subsequently, a law was also passed to extend the due date to November 2020 from the earlier existing due dates that were there. This includes the due date for filing of tax audit returns, which is 31st October 2020. If you look at it, the lockdown is fully not relaxed in various parts of the country. Audits are largely carried out by small and medium practicing CA firms for whom this new way of doing things is absolutely new. They might not have gotten fully adjusted to it. Audit itself is a very live activity which happens on the ground in the client's location, so that has become difficult. ETDS filing due dates were extended till 31st July. Thereby, the TDS credits might not be appearing in Form 26AS in many instances, because of which filing returns, reconciling incomes and TDS has become difficult. Income tax department itself seems to be unprepared because a lot of e-filing, Excel or the Java utilities got released very late and some of them are not yet released. Further, to add to this, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and the Registrar of Companies have realized that conducting AGM by 30th September for those companies which have finished their year or completed their financial year as on 31st March is difficult, and they have extended the due date for that to 31st December. In that backdrop, filing the return of income and the tax audit in the current due dates, which are 31st October and 30th November respectively, are difficult. Therefore, a representation was made to stretch this due date or to move this due date to 31st March 2021 for filing tax returns and 28th February for filing tax audit report and all the other reports and certificates which are to be filed around that time. This will also help those taxpayers who might have availed loans on which there are interest dues which get covered under 43B and are allowable only on payment basis, and they might have availed moratorium, because of which the due date, and if the due dates get extended, there is a good possibility that they can also claim those benefits. The next representation that was made was regarding compliance with respect to transfer pricing. Even here, the due date to file the Form 3CEB is 31st October currently, and to file returns is 30th November. Apart from the difficulties which I already pointed out earlier, one other additional difficulty is that in order to file the 3CEB, a transfer pricing document needs to be maintained, for which comparable data needs to be available, because a contemporaneous data is the requirement under the Rule 10D of the income tax rules. Here what will happen, because the due date for AGMs are extended, the possibility that those data is available before filing 3CEB becomes difficult, and thereby to some extent becomes impossible to conclude the 3CEB. Therefore, a representation was made to request to enhance or extend all the due dates relating to transfer pricing. The next representation that was done was regarding scrutiny assessment especially in the case of assessment year 1920, where the due date is 31st March 2021, which is also the extended timeline for assessment year 1819 currently. Because of the difficulties and all the compliances that could come around the same time, a request was made to enhance this due date to 31st July 2021. Going further in the area of improving cash flows with business, the following representations were made. One, it is very encouraging that the government realized that releasing the refunds which were pending was important, and as per the government's own records, a press release and a tweet that was put out by the finance ministry, a total of 1,01,308 crores of refunds was released between 1st April and 8th September 2020. Some more refunds could be stuck for procedural reasons, like order giving effects are not passed after orders of ITAT, High Court or Supreme Court which have reached finality, or in the cases where appeals were filed, 20% of the demand is already adjusted against refund, the rest of the refund remains pending at CPC. Representation was made to consider these refunds and release them as soon as possible, because then the cash becomes available with the business, which is what is the need of the hour. Subsequently, on the levy of interest under 234A and 234C. 234A is levied, as you all know, when there is a delay in filing of income tax return. When the extension was given for assessment year 2021 for the income tax return filing, it was also told that 234A will not be relaxed for those taxpayers having a self-assessment tax of more than 1 lakh. Only for less than 1 lakh that was relaxed. The reason why such a distinction was made is not clear. Therefore, a representation was made requesting such distinction to be removed, and to make sure that 234A is relaxed for up till the extended due date for filing of return for assessment year 2021. Similarly, for assessment year 21-22, which is financial year 2021, where advance taxes are to be paid because of considerable cash flow and other difficulties, maybe the taxpayers will not be able to pay the advance taxes in the respective quarter. Therefore, a request was made to completely waive off 234C impact for financial year 2021, because in any case, if there are the advance taxes are paid less than 90%, anyway 234B acts as a compensation to the government. Therefore, 234C was requested to be relaxed. Under the providing relief to taxpayers from unwanted hardships, the following representations were made. Firstly, CSR contribution made specially for COVID control, which is today not available as a deduction under section 37, was requested to be allowed. Arm's length range threshold in a transfer pricing law, which currently stands at 1% for wholesale trading and 3% for other cases, was requested to be enhanced to 3% and 5% respectively. Safe harbor rules, which today gives a safe harbor limit which the taxpayers can follow in case of their international transaction, was requested to be reduced by 3% wherever it is given as a rate, and by 100 basis points wherever they are given as a percentage. Secondary TP adjustments requires that when a primary adjustment is done, that money to be brought into India within a certain time threshold, that is 90 days today. This was requested to be enhanced to 180 days for financial year 2021, considering the difficulties that you already are aware of. Regarding the residential status, PE and POEM, what happens is that there could be instances where some people got stuck in certain places due to the travel restrictions, lockdowns that were announced. Recognizing this, a circular was brought out in May 2020, where government said that between 24th March and 31st March, this period will not be considered for purpose of determining residential status for financial year 1920. A representation has been made to consider even that for financial year 2021. Also to extend this to determining permanent establishment and place of effective management, where unnecessarily some situations because of the travel restriction, PE, residential status changes and POEM could get covered. And also, as you are aware, for the corporate tax, there is a new regime of taxation in 115 BAA and 115 BAB which has come out. One of the provisions in that states that depreciation has to be claimed as per method prescribed. There is no method today prescribed, or the mode is not prescribed. Therefore, a request was made to clarify that. The last of the representations that were made were regarding provisions of TCS under 206C 1H of the Income Tax Act. This was introduced from Finance Act 2020, will become applicable from 1st October 2020. A 0.1% TCS is applicable on sale of any goods, value or aggregate of such value if it exceeds 50 lakh in a previous year. There are certain problems in this. Let me highlight them and let me tell you what are the representations that were made. The first of the problem is 206C9, which gives the option for a taxpayer to apply for a nil or lower withholding, lower TCS is not available for 206C1H in the current construct of the law. Then subsequently the word sale consideration is not defined, thereby it results into the following two possibilities. One, there could be a GST rate and a cess that is applicable on this consideration, which could also get covered under the TCS provision, which is not the intention of the law, as has been already clarified in the GST side, where it has been clarified by the government that there won't be GST charged on the TCS component. Thereby a converse of that also should be true. That clarity is missing. Then the sale consideration could also cover situations where there is a composite supply of, let's say, goods and services together, especially in cases of works contract. That might not be the intention to cover them in 206C gets covered because there is no clarity on the definition of sale consideration. Also, when this provision was introduced, the intention of this was said to be widening the tax base. If this provision continue to apply on B2B transaction, which are already under various reporting mechanisms and under various sorts of legislations, already the data collection happens, bringing them also under this provision might become a little bit of a cascading in terms of the compliances. That is another problem which exists. So coming to the representations that were made to counter these difficulties that are there in 206C1H, the first of the representation that was made was to seek to clarify the fact that in 206C9 the taxpayers can apply for getting a nil or a lower withholding or a lower TCS certificate and make use of that. It was also sought that B2B transaction be carved out of the sweep of 206C1H to make sure that the multi-level taxation or the multi-level reporting doesn't happen. Subsequently, as a one-point measure, it was also sought that a problem that existed, or rather that exists today, which is that the provision of 206C1H says that anything that is received as a consideration is what gets under this these provisions. But if imagine a situation whereas on 30th September 2020 there is an amount which is due and that is received later and that exceeds the value threshold that is fixed under this law, it could get covered under the TCS provision, which doesn't seem to be the intention of the law. Therefore, it was sought to clarify this as well as a one-time measure. Then suitable clarification for the definition of the sale consideration was sought, wherein whether the TCS applies on the GST component and whether transactions like works contract where there is a composite supply was also requested. Then as a measure to counter the COVID-19 impact, it was also requested that these provisions be made not applicable as of 1st October 2020, but on the other hand be applicable from 1st April 2021. These are the things that were asked for as far as the provisions relating to TCS under 206C1H were concerned. With this, I come to an end of it. Thank you everyone for listening. We hope you like these short videos that we put up as BCA's Tax Gurukul. If you have any recommendations, anything to tell us, we are happy to hear. Please write to us on bcastaxation@gmail.com. Also, you can write in your comments in the comment section. The PPT should be available in the description tab. Thank you and stay safe.